Yo, what's up guys? Good evening, it's your boy Nitrostorm here, and as you can see from your screen right now, Keqing's Banner has been recently released. And so, it's now time for someone like me who's played Keqing since the start at launch, pretty much had her since day one, to tell you about her and to let you know if she's worth it or not. So, just to show you, the banner is out and you use Intertwined Fates. So before we get into the cons of Keqing and my opinions, let's first take a look at her pros. So with our trusty companion here, there you go, our trusty companion, the camera. Let's just hide the UI. We can now take a look at the pros. So firstly, we will start off from the bottom and work our way to the top. So without further ado, let's take a look. So here, this is the bottom, as you can see here. So very spicy detail, as you can see, you know, wearing purple high heels with a touch of gold, you know, with a little bit of fold, as you can see there. And then you see the color of the leggings, you know, a nice touch with a little bit of design on the left hip. And then now if you move our way up slowly, we can now take a look at the mid section. As you can see, very fine detail, nice mix of purple with some gold, just to signify, you know, and emphasize that electro element. As you can wear some gloves with a little bit of fine detail on the gold. And then now slowly move our way higher up. So as you can see from the top middle section, there's a lot of fine gold detail emphasizing the structure. The shoulders have a neat design of gold and purple, and then you can clearly see her electro symbol at the back there. And last but not least, if you move up to the head area, you can see that on her right side she has a purple ribbon with gold and a white highlight looking like a pearl, and on the other side you have a gold accessory with a white flower. And then last but not least, don't forget the detail on her hairstyle. This is the hairstyle that confuses quite a number of the player base out there, and you can see that it makes it seem like she has ears. But if you look closely, she has normal ears, and this is just her hairstyle. So for those thinking that she is of another breed, as you may say, that is not the case. And last but not least, she has a small braid on the left side of her head that is braided. Alright, so that is the cons, the pros. There's no cons on how she looks. There's no cons whatsoever in my opinion. There are more pros that I will show in a bit, but in any case, the overall design is very nice. You know, a lot of people may want to get her just for the appearance, which I totally understand, and this video wouldn't be useful to you guys, because whatever I say, it doesn't change the fact that she's what you say cute. So there you have it. Now, for those that are thinking of getting her for different reasons, I will talk to you about the cons a little bit later on, but we still have more pros to show. So, as you can see, we're in just a normal area in Liyuan. If we do a normal attack, as you can see, she does a quick, you know, spicy flare, as you can see. And let me just zoom in and show you. There you go, stabbing frontwards like so. Little bit of swish from the skirt, as you can see there. So when you're actually fighting, you're never gonna notice these things. That's why I am showing it to you guys as an avid Keqing main, as some of you may say. And there you go. That's the appearance section done. Now we're moving on to the next section. Alright guys, so for the next section, we're essentially just gonna show her attacks without enemies first off. So the main thing that us Keqing mains use her for is the charge attack spam, which is essentially a stab and then followed by a charge attack. Now to make that fast, all you have to do is click once and you hold the mouse click. There you go. And then the moment she goes down like so, Nice flare there as you saw. The moment she goes back down, you press the left click and hold again, and you will end up with a series of continuous flurry of charge attacks, which is only possible whilst you still have stamina remaining. If you click too fast, something like that will happen, and then she wouldn't start the next attack for some reason. So you need to time it right. If you get the timing, it's not really that difficult, but you can see there. So that's a sound effect that you will hear if you play in English, and then this is what you hear if you're in Chinese. Apologies for that. This is what you hear in Chinese. This is what you hear in Japanese. And last but not the least, this is what you hear if you play in Korean. So, out of all of the voices, the Korean voice is the only one that says nya on the charge attack. I'm not sure if you guys like that, but it's something for me to point out, of course, which is very important. Alright guys, so we're now back with the English voice, and now it's time for me to show you her attacks. So I know I haven't mentioned the cons yet, but let's keep it on a good note before we move on to the, you know, the sad parts. Not really sad, but you'll find out. In any case, so her normal attacks looks like this. Now it looks pretty quick, right? Especially the first three. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the first hit, that's one hit. Second is one hit. Third is one hit. The fourth hit, it hits twice. And last but not least, the last one is a lunge forward. So as you can see, it looks really quick, but keep in mind, once you're actually fighting enemies, the attack speed is going to be slower because you're actually hitting something. You know, it's a nice, I think it's like a nice small detail. You know, because usually when you're practicing like this, it's your fastest. But then once you hit enemies, if we add in, you know, science and physics, there's gonna be a little bit of stopping power coming from the enemy when you hit them directly. So another part here, a pro. Her E can either be held or pressed. So when you hold the E, she does this neat stance, as you can see, putting the sword behind her back. And after, well, if you let go, it'll move to where you let it go, and then if you press E again, if you don't do it too late, like those, look, he's right there, I can run around, and then if I press E again, it'll teleport me to where that was, which is pretty spicy. If you tap it out, it'll go either in front of you or to the nearest enemy. And then if you press E again, it will teleport. So if you want to do it quickly, like so. So you're not gonna, so don't worry if you think that you're not gonna deal any damage or you're gonna miss. The teleport is pretty much instant. And then the second way is that when you hold or let go and then use a charge attack, it will explode along with you, dealing electro damage. So this is what differentiates many Keqing mains, making them either physical or electro. Because when you teleport, my weapon, as you can see, is now imbued with electro, as you can see from the blade. Of course for a short amount of time, but every time I teleport, it will always be imbued. So making electro builds very viable. And other than that, for those that build her physical, they will always release and use a charge attack to apply electro, so that their cryo support is able to apply superconduct, which reduces enemy physical resistance by 40%. Oh yeah, so one more thing I nearly forgot before we move on. The last thing that I forgot to show you is her Q, her burst. So essentially, if I zoom out enough, once I press the burst, you will see a circle around, and that will be the area of effect of the burst. So anything within the circle will get hit, will get damaged.
Nowhere to hide.
So as you can see, the edge of the circle was around here. Meaning, you can imagine that this platform is essentially kind of like a range where it goes from here and it circles around the edge like so. So imagine all of this range is all the enemies inside this will get damaged. So the range is pretty nice and the damage is consistent against all enemies in the vicinity, which is pretty nice. And also during that special, during the burst, you can move near the end, and it will still deal damage, so don't worry about that. In any case, let's move on. Firstly, before we move on to actual real combat, let me take you to a quick tour to my Keqing. So as you can see, she is Ascend 6 level 90 using the 5-star Aquila Favonia. So I know what you guys are thinking. I'm using a 5-star weapon, so the damage might be over buffed, but it is a good thing, you know, because the damage you see might not be the damage that you will see if you got Keqing but don't have a good weapon. Of course, a good alternative would be the Black Sword or even the Festering Desire, but yeah, no, just Black Sword I guess, or the Flute. In any case, here are her artifacts. So the current build I have on her is physical, but I do have an Electro build as well. So we have the Gladiator's Nostalgia, Gladiator's Destiny, Bloodstained Final Hour, Sands, and then we got a Wondrous Kettle for the physical damage, and last but not least, a Bloodstained Iron Mask. Take a look at her stats: 124.6% physical damage bonus, crit rate on the lower end, but it's doable, and then a good amount of crit damage. So essentially, with the physical build, I won't lie, she does hit pretty hard, I will show you in a bit, but because she is physical damage, she will do the most damage against treasure hoarders and the Fatui, and the least amount of damage against ruin guards. So even though physical damage gets boosted from the second chamber on floor 12, the damage is still not good enough to compensate for it. As in, I wasn't able to 3-star, but I was able to 3-star with the Electro build kind of. And then now let me switch to my Electro build. So essentially I would change my helmet. It's a downgrade unfortunately, but I can't do much about that. And then next we change this to Electro Damage Goblet. So unfortunately I haven't farmed enough Thundering Fury or Thunder Soother, so we're gonna have to make do with the 4-piece Gladiator set, where I get 35% normal attack damage, which is still good, but unfortunately this doesn't buff her charge attack damage. So with this, still the same weapon, we have a little bit more attack now, a little bit more crit rate, but our crit damage does go down by a bit. Our energy recharge increases, we get 46.6% electro damage bonus, and physical damage bonus that comes from the sword. Well, in any case, let's take a look at her gameplay. Alright, so for the purpose of this video, I'm going to make sure that she is on her own when I use this. So when you use her in actual gameplay, she'll be in a team with more benefits and stuff like that. So you can assume that her performance will be, you know, a little bit better than what you would expect. So for now, we're going to be gliding down looking for enemies. So we're going to be fighting these hilichurls over here. Quickly take a look at our build. We are using the Electro build, as you can see, from the Goblet. And then I'm just here to show you guys, you know, how she plays when you are Elemental build. So firstly, we can just go to this guy and teleport. So I kind of missed, but we'll get rid of him real quick. And now as you can see, there's people there. What you guys don't know is that I can do this, right? Incoming. Teleport up, glide, and then I can slam down. And I deal electro plunge damage. What you guys didn't notice. Don't blink. Hey. Alright, so just do some damage over here, you know, just normal gameplay. So I didn't crit there, unfortunately. Oh, this guy is saying, let me just my burst. So as you can see that I was dealing damage whilst the elemental burst was going through. meaning I can still act without worrying that it will cancel. So as you can see, if you noticed, my stamina gauge is actually very low from the get-go. Right, another elemental burst. Alright, so not too shabby. We're still taking damage, I think, because of that guy over there. Just pick up all of this. Alright, so the one thing you've noticed that my sword is helping me out kind of in terms of healing. So keep that in mind. Alright, let's just get rid of this guy. Okay, I kind of missed there. Let's climb up. Kicked him out. And then again, my technique, teleport to a plunge. There you go. I mean, 11k is not too shabby for a level 8. Okay, so that's a quick show of how the Electro build works. It's very nice. My only issue with the Electro build, this is now the first con of the video, is that currently, even though they are thinking of buffing Electro reactions, in its current state, the reactions, as I will list here, are Superconduct, Electro Charged, and Overload. And from these three, the only one that does Electro damage as a reaction is Electro Charged, and that alone doesn't crit. And it's a damage over time reaction as well. It's not a boosted damage such as Melt and Vaporize. So overall, the damage increase using Electro reactions isn't that great compared to the others. You know, it still does a decent amount of damage, but the damage is only dependent on your elemental mastery rather than your damage stats, such as attack and crit damage. Alright, let's move on to our physical build. So, change the goblet and change the helmet, and just a quick review of our stats. And now, let's look for some enemies. Alright guys, so there is no better place to show off her damage than fighting against Fatui/treasure hoarders. So, I'm currently in this area of Dragonspine, and in this small area here, if I zoom in, there are quite a number of Fatui, which is the perfect place for me to show off my physical damage. So, of course, it is better if I brought in a cryo unit for the superconduct, but that's not what we're here for. So we go in here and then do some charge attacks. So unfortunately, I'm unable to crit right now for some reason. Just get rid of this guy. Let's do that. There you go, 11k. Do some of that. So I'm out of stamina already. There you go. That's 22k on a charge attack. If I crit, that is. If I crit. So that was a very messy one. Let me try this again on another Fatui. So the reason why I'm dealing so much damage against these guys is because their physical res, their natural physical resistance, is negative 10%. So if I were to use a superconduct debuff, their total physical res becomes negative 30%. There you go. Do some damage there and then finish off. So it would be nice if I had higher crit rate. I'll eat a piece of food that increases only my crit rate and not my damage, just to make the showcase more consistent, right? There's 68.7% crit rate. That's more consistent now. There you go. As you can see, you know, did quick work against these guys, and then this one as well. And then quick slam dunk for 17k. So keep in mind, I'm fighting against Fatui, so the damage is pretty blown up. Let's go fight some Hilichurls for some more fair damage. Alright, so again, we are using the physical damage build. Okay, so the damage that we were doing against these Hilichurls, I'll check back in the video on what the damage was. And let's
Nowhere
do
to
our special to get more crit rate.
Got lucky that time.
Yes, indeed, I got lucky that time. Alright, so that guy's a little bit annoying, so I'm just gonna fight the other Hilichurl. This one right here. There you go. And then slam. Okay, never mind the slam dunk. 14k on the plunge, not bad. So it was 12k, 11k on the Electro build.
Don't blink.
Of course, it's kind of unfair considering the weapon that I have is definitely more favored towards physical. But I did beat Abyss using the Electro build instead of the physical. Alright, so that's just a quick gameplay. Alright, let's go fight this guy with physical build. So when I fought this with elemental build, it wasn't really that difficult. So let's see what happens here.
Cut to the chase. Don't blink.
Alright, do some of that. Then do normal attacks and cut through just to do a semi-dodge.
Don't blink.
Alright, I think this guy is super conducted right now. There you go. Alright, not too shabby. Alright, we will. Okay, you know what? Let's attack this guy because he's gonna get super conduct. So you know, about 23k on the charge attack, so which is not bad, not bad. Alright, so I think we've gotten a good grasp of her gameplay right now. But I guess you want to see her against bosses and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna do a quick one against the Dvalin. Alright, so this might be a little bit unfair to use her on her own like this, because it's kind of likely that I'm not going to be able to defeat the Storm Terror. Like in one DPS window, that is. I mean, I'll be able to defeat it, but I'm not sure if it's in one. I'm not sure if in one window. So you know, just a quick cheat. You know, if you can't be bothered to move, you can just move to the side, and whatever it does, it's not really going to hurt you. And then for this one, just need to keep in mind dodge there. Oh, I kind of missed.
With sword comes shadow.
Alright, so I kind of messed up my ultimate there, so feels bad. Alright, so we're just gonna climb up now, and then do some of this.
Incoming. Speed of light.
Oh no, I was so close. Well, so that's her damage. You know, I would have been able to one-shot it, I think, if I had my burst and I used it at the right time. So we're just gonna leave this one. Alright, so I kind of changed the build a little bit for this one. I'm using 12% food crit rate, so I'm at 72%. And just for this one, I'm gonna keep it like this helmet instead, mainly because of the fact that I rarely do my normal attacks. I mean my normal damage, so I use my charge attack more. So it's better off using this one instead. In any case, let's take a look at the Electro versus the Storm Terror. So again, this might be a bit unfair because mainly she might not be able to do it on her own. Well, as we've seen from the physical build, she can do it on her own. I just messed up my burst, so that's a feels bad. Okay, nice. Climb up here, and then do this. Do that, and then my ultimate.
Incoming.
Alright, so you know, because my build's not really that good for Electro, the performance wasn't as good in my opinion. However, if I had a build more suited for Electro, for example 2-set Electro, then I think I would have been able to defeat it on her own. So hopefully the scuffed comparison against the Dvalin isn't the worst, and hopefully it's to your liking at the least. Anyway, let's now move on to the cons. Alright guys, welcome back to the starting area. So I think we've done, a pretty good review of her attacks and her charged, her E and her burst. Now it's time to review her in general. You know, the banner. So as you can see from the banner, of course, Keqing is the featured character, and it works like any other event banner, where first 90 pulls, 50-50% of getting the event banner, and then if you fail that, within the next 90 pulls, the next 5-star will guarantee Keqing. Now, my only issue with this is that she is a standard wish character. And by standard wish character, I mean the characters that are always in the game regardless of which banner is out currently. And these standard characters, there's only 5 of them, and they are Keqing, Mona, Chi-Chi, Diluc, and Jean. And the only thing I can say to this is that, in my opinion, standard characters aren't really worth going for as an event wish. Mainly because of the fact that, first of all, they use intertwined fates to summon, and you know, these things don't come as often as acquaint fates, which come often, especially in free to play. Like if you don't buy the battle pass, you get 5 acquaint fates just for every battle pass, as well as leveling up characters to a certain ascension. That will also net you free acquaint fates, whilst these intertwined fates, they mainly only arrive when it comes to special events and giveaways. So that's the first con, the fact that she's a standard character in an event banner. Now, secondly, for those that are thinking of pulling for Keqing dupes, in my opinion, if you have a physical Keqing, these constellations are going to be most of the time useless. As you can see, the first constellation already does electro damage, so your physical doesn't affect this at all. Again, this one affected by electro increases chance, so this will help you burst spam. The third one just increases the level. The fourth one, if you do an electro-related electro-reaction, her attack is increased by 25%, which is useful in both scenarios. The third one increases your level again of a skill, and then the C6, whenever you use a charge, of elemental skill, or elemental burst, you gain 6% electro damage bonus for 8 seconds. So her C6 increases your electro damage up to a total of 32. No. 24, sorry. 24% electro damage bonus. Because a normal attack is different or independent to charge attacks, which are independent to skills and which are dependent to bursts. So that's 4 different attacks, each of them giving 6%. So 6 times 4, 24% electro damage bonus. So as you can see, her constellations bring her to an electro-focused build. So electro Keqing, meaning if you have a physical build, she's not going to benefit much from these. And in my opinion, I've read through this multiple times since day one, and in my opinion, these constellations aren't as important or as beneficial compared to some other standard characters such as Diluc. For example, his first constellation, he does 15% more damage. Like, this is a damage multiplier rather than an attack increase on the first constellation to enemies whose HP is above 50%. That is crazy, you know? Then in the second one, when Diluc takes damage, so he gets a damage buff on C1, and then on C2 he gets an attack and attack speed buff when he takes damage. Now, of course, I'm not actually I'm not in favor of Diluc. When I first got him, it was a 50-50 fail trying to get Venti, so I've got a tiny bit of a grudge to him. But if we take a look at her first 2 constellations, this one will help you burst spam, and then this one will just deal extra electro damage. So if you compare the 2 constellations, the first 2, the change or the improvement to her DPS isn't really going to be that large, because her recharge is already pretty solid. even without the constellations. Like, I've used Keqing since the start, and I've never needed or even considered pulling for her dupes. In my opinion, I've never needed to pull for dupes. So that, in my opinion, that's another con, mainly because of the fact that I don't think she needs them. And now lastly, should you pull for her if you don't have her? Well, as I've said from the pros, you wouldn't need my opinion if you're going to pull for her because you want to get her, like just like her, stuff like that. You know, I'm not going to be able to stop you. But if you're going to pull for her because, you know, like you think she's good, well, she is good. But after using her for so long, I can see her shortcomings at the moment. And one of the biggest shortcomings are the electro-related elemental reactions. Of course, there have been talks of it being improved, right? There's talks of it being improved, and we don't have any info on that right now. And mainly because of that, I'm not really sure if it's worth pulling for the investment. You can if you want, but again, she is a standard character. She might end up spooking you, trying to get future characters that they're going to release. But I mean, look, if you want to pull for her just for the walk, you know, I mean that's pretty much up to you, you know. But I'm already making her walk for you, so you don't even need to do it yourself. You know what I mean? You know, I'm doing you a solid. I showed you all her attacks. As you can see, the normal attack one, or I can do it zoomed in, you know, if you want, or zoomed in from this angle. I mean, what do you guys want? There you go, another one there. Or what about the charge attack? You want from this angle, like that? There you go, look. I've done it multiple times. You guys might, you know, you guys can save that as a GIF or something. Well, in my opinion, overall, I don't think she has, you know, the insane DPS potential that previous event characters have. For example, Child, he's a little bit hard to use in my opinion. I don't have him, so don't take my word for that. But from what I've seen, he seems to be very high maintenance to do high DPS. And then there's also other ones such as Ganyu, which is an event character with, you know, pretty easy. She's not as high maintenance, and then she can still deal damage. And then the banner that just passed, Zhao, I'm pretty sure all of you went hard on him. So 99% chance you already used your pity to get Zhao, and then maybe thinking you can YOLO Keqing. But in my opinion, I wouldn't pull for her. The only reason why I have her is because I started with her, you know, it's a different thing. So, now that that's out of the way, should you still pull on the banner? Now, if you take a look at the 4 stars, Barbara is essentially a curse at this point. Of course, like by this point, I'm pretty sure everyone has her, even constellationed, or even C6 at this point, in my opinion. Everyone has Barbara at that high constellation because she just appears everywhere, you know? Now, the other two, however, we have Bennett and Ningguang. Bennett is insane support, and usually people recommend him to go C1. And then for Ningguang, she's very good. She would want some investment definitely, because if you don't have any good catalysts, the next best thing is the battle pass catalyst, which is, you know, quote unquote pay to win. Well, it is pay to win. So if you take a look at Bennett Constellation, of course I have him, you know, C5 because I was trying to get Sucrose during Albedo Banner, but I failed to get Sucrose and I got 5 Bennett and 5 Fischl instead. Anyway, it's recommended to bring him to C1 because the attack buff has no HP restriction, and it gains an additional 20% of Bennett's base attack, which does not show on the talent. What I mean by that is, for example, my current level is level 10, and the attack bonus ratio is 101%. But in reality, if you bring in C1, the attack bonus ratio is actually 121%. And then to Ningguang's constellations, if you want to pull for her, C1's pretty good because her normal attacks become AoE. The second one, her Jade Screen, can shatter. Essentially what this does is that her E is basically infinite use if you use it correctly. And then her C3 is just a level up. Her C4 is not that good. Her C5 is another level up. And then her C6, this one is pretty spicy. When Star Shatter is used, she gains 7-star J's. This is essentially a good DPS boost, but overall I think the minimum is, well, you can do her fine with C0, but if you want to constellation her, C2 works just fine, and then C6 if you want to go all out. So overall, if you have Bennett and you want to get him C1, you can take the risk, but Bennett's featured in many banners already, so he is sure to come back sooner or later. The same thing can be said for Ningguang. The only thing is that they're not going to return next banner literally, because they just came out on this one. So overall, in terms of my rating from 1 to 10 if you should summon for it, I would give it a 5. Now, that rating would go up to 10 if you're chasing because she's waifu, then yeah, I guess that's a 10. 5 for the overall quality of the banner, because, you know, while Keqing is good, I'm not sure if she's worth using Intertwined Fates. You know what I mean? Because she's still in the Standard Wish. She's not going to leave Standard Wish after this. She's always going to be in Standard. And she can always spook you. You never know. And then for dupes, she doesn't need them whatsoever. I'm only talking to non-whales here. If you're a whale, it doesn't really matter what you do, because you have plenty of money to spend anyway, right? Because, yeah, in total, 5 out of 10. 5 because of Barbara. She's gonna spook you the most in my opinion. And then Bennett is top tier support. I used him. He helped me 3-star floor 12 Abyss. Ningguang, I've never used her. That's why I don't have a very good opinion on her right now. That's why it's a 5 out of 10 overall in my opinion. So hopefully I didn't miss too many information. If I did miss some stuff and you'd like to let me know, you could leave it down in the comments and I'll respond to it. I chose this place because it's very nice to look at night, and I thought it was a good place for character reviews. Well, in any case, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it helped you decide whether or not you should pull for Keqing. Keep in mind, I've played her since day 1. I even have a 5-star weapon to use on her. So you could say I've used her to nearly to the most of her abilities as a non-whale. And so you can take this video for what you will, and hopefully you formed your opinion on it. It's been your boy Nitrostorm. I'll see you guys in the next stream or video. Peace.